Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. I thought I'd pop in and say hello. I haven't shown my face in a while, so I thought I would say hello and hope everybody's doing well. Tonight, sorry, I need to tape down my paper here. I have to tape it. So, tonight we're going to make two cards, one double-sided step, and you can see that I have flowers on each layer and some floating butterflies. And then we're going to do this pretty card that's fairly simple, just a different little design and with the flower border in the front. And then just the flower stamped inside. I'm going to move my camera up just a little bit there. So just a couple announcements before we get started. Although the StreamYard and I forgot to add my host code, so I'll have to let you know what that is. Although StreamYard is simple for me to do my giveaways, there was some confusion last week about people's names not showing up. So what I decided to do was I'm going to just thank you so much. I am just going to go back after the video in my group, my page, and YouTube, gather everybody's names manually, and I'm going to use random.org for my giveaway. And tonight, the giveaway is a brand new pack of the Daffodil Afternoon 12 by 12 designer series paper. And whoever wins, you can let me know whether you want to cut 6 by 6 or 4 by 6. So that'll be tonight's giveaway. And just bear with me for 1 second. I'm looking for my host code if I can find it. Oh, here it is. So let me just add my hi, Ruth. Thank you. Yeah, it's just something a little different. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to change my host code because I forgot to do that. And then we'll get going here. F9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Okay. Oops, that's not what I want. I want this one. Okay. So that's done. Secondly, I just again want to mention October 7th, I'm going to have a winter Jubilee. Registration um, includes a full day, goodie bag, there's a luncheon, you'll have a tool table, there'll be optional classes, you'll be able to shop retired product and cards, and there's limited seating, so you can do it through PayPal. This is at the top of my group and on the top of my page, so you can find that there if you're interested. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Melanie. How are you, honey? Hey, Kathleen. And then, just as a reminder, because before we know it, August is going to be gone. If you were to join Stampin' Up as a business builder or as a hobby demonstrator just for the discount, Stampin' Up is giving away this beautiful planner with the starter kit. It comes with pages of stickers that you can embellish your book. All the pages from, and mine is empty, I haven't started it yet, from July until December 2023. And that's what's in here, the rest of those pages. And it comes with 3 stylish notebooks and a stamp set. that you can decorate your planner any way you like. So if you are a planner girl, this is the month to join. It's really a great set. Okay, so let's get started with these cards. Let me just rip one more piece of tape here. Thanks everybody for joining me, and we will get started. Okay, so we're going to do the step card and a regular card. Hey, Do, you started yours. Hi, Fran, how are you? You're late. That's okay. Hello, hello. So if you are coming in late, tonight's giveaway, I'm going to do it manually. I'm not using the giveaway through StreamYard. And all you have to do to be included is comment on this. Hey, Karen, how are you, honey? Comment on the video. I will be giving away a package of the Daffodil Afternoon 12 by 12, and I'll cut it down 4 by 6 or 6 by 6. It's up to you. So let's start with this card. I know it's crazy because this one's a little bit more involved, and I'm going to try to keep it to an hour. I know I've been keeping you guys for the last couple weeks longer than usual. So let's just pull this stuff out. Hopefully I have everything here, and we'll go through everything that we need to create this card. So I'm using Highland Heather, Gorgeous Grape, and Basic White. So this is we're going to start out with our card base, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. And you don't have to worry about your dimensions. I will have a PDF for you tomorrow. Now these two side panels is layered with Gorgeous Grape, and this measures about 1.25 by 4 1/8, and then it has a layer of Basic White that is 1 1/8 by 4, and then of course the steps need to have some covering on it. And again, we're going to use Gorgeous Grape, and we're using the 6 by 6 designer series paper with all the colors. So this is 1.5 by 2.5, 1 5/8 by 2 5/8. The next step should be 2 5/8 by 1 3/8, and this should be 2.5 by 1 1/4. And then, of course, on the front, it is 2 5/8 by 7/8, and then 2.5 by 3/4. Now, you'll notice on this card, I used the paper that is free during celebration, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So, of course, thank you so much. And look, I broke one today. I was so mad. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Southwest Colorado. How's the weather out there? Thank you. And then I'm using Butterfly Brilliance, and I'm using the Glimmering in Color paper. That's for the 2 butterflies. And I have all these little pieces here. And then also from Butterfly Brilliance, and I'm going to see where I have a little butterfly. Should be in my basket here. All these, yep, here he is. 2 little butterflies from Butterfly Brilliance that we're going to float. And then we have the Sending Smiles stamp set that we're using. And I'm using this flower here, and the stems and the leaves with this little one. Okay, so let's get these pieces set aside. And also I'm using, and you can see it is a little marked up. This is actually one of the acetate sheets that our stamps come on. When you open up your box, all our stamps come on these acetate sheets. I just wash them down and use them again. You can use them for shaker cards instead of buying acetate sheets. Okay, this one is a little, it needs to be washed again, but they are perfect for what we're using them for tonight. And then it comes with matching dies. All right, so let me pull out my cutter, and I'm going to put it sideways so I can get the whole thing. Hubs, he is feeling a little better today. The last few days, he's been going back and forth with, he wanted to go to the ER, then he didn't want to go to the ER, then he wanted to go to the ER. So he's feeling better than he did yesterday, but he's still not feeling that great. He's very tired. I think actually what's happening now, he's been bleeding so much and he has a low platelet count to begin with. I think he's anemic, and I think that's why he's just so tired. So hopefully he'll start feeling better. Okay, so we're going to make the step card, and thank you for asking, by the way. It means a lot. So we have 8.5 by 5.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up, and I'm going to line it up on this side first. And we want the edge to be, let's see, 1 3/8 of an inch from here to where we're going to cut. So, and I'll do it this way so we can see. So we're going to do 1 3/8. And I'm going to stand up so I can read this right. So we're going to line it up at 1 3/8. And before I put this down all the way, I want to get my cutter blade. And this cutter is awesome because it has these little lines on the cutter. And we're going to line this up at 1 inch on the ruler. And then we can close it down. And we're going to cut from the 1 inch mark to the 7.5 inch mark. And we're going down to 7.5 because that is 1 inch from the bottom of the card. Okay, so there is our cut. We cut it from 1 inch to 7.5 inches, 1 3/8 from the side. And we're going to do that again on this side. So we're going to line it up at 1 3/8. We're going to put our blade at 1 inch. We're going to close it and we're going to cut down to 7.5. Okay, so now we have the cut marks for the inside of the step. Here's our sides. This is going to be the step. Now we need to score all of our lines. So we'll start with the front. We are going to score at the 1 inch line. Now it should be right at the end of these cut marks. And we're going to score it from cut line to cut line. So we're not going to go all the way across. We're doing it in between these cut marks. So we're going to get our on 1 inch. And we're just going to line up this line with the cut mark and score. I'm just going to go back one more time. And then when we lift this up, you'll see that our score line is right here at the end of our cut, okay? Our next score line has to be at 1.5, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score it between these lines. So again, we're just going to score it between those lines. Then we want to score it at 3 inches, staying between these cut lines. We're scoring it at 3. Okay, so now we have our 3 lines. Now we're going to score at 4.25, and that is going to create our basic card base. So this time we're going to score across the whole piece because we need to be able to fold this card to fit into our envelope. Then we're going to move it down to the 6-inch mark and score it in between the cut lines. Just like that. Okay. So now we have our card base cut and scored. Oh, she's whining. It doesn't matter if you are on StreamYard. If you're watching and I see Facebook user, you're not on StreamYard. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my groups and my business page and YouTube, and I'm going to manually pull everybody's name and do it randomly with random.org for the giveaway. So you don't have to worry. As long as you're commenting, I will see your name when I log back into my group. Okay, and this is the giveaway for tonight, the Daffodil Afternoon Designer Series paper. And I will draw that probably tomorrow morning, so the winner won't be announced until tomorrow, because we still haven't eaten dinner yet, so I still have to make dinner. Okay, now we have to fold the card. As I said before, this is the front of the card. And we know that because there's this little tiny space here. So what we're going to do first is this first score line is folded like a mountain. And what do I mean by a mountain? It's coming up. So when we're folding, it's creating a V. So that is a mountain fold. So I'm just going to get in there and give that a good fold. Now the next line is a valley. And again, it's a valley because it is going down inside the card. Let's give that a good fold too. Our next score line is a mountain. That's creating the back to that first piece. And I'm just going to get in here and give it a good fold. And then it's a valley, just like that. And before I fold that one, this is where our card is going to fold, and this is folded as a mountain, okay? So let's just give that a crease. And then this back piece is a mountain. So we're going to fold that. And that gives us our inside stairs and our folded card. So when we close this up, it sits perfectly. I just want to make sure that it's folded down right. Runaway bead. And we just want to get these lines folded really nice. Okay, so that is our card base. Believe it or not, you can buy these card bases like on Amazon. sidestep card bases. Yes, I just saw that. I just noticed. Thank you. Thanks, Melanie. Okay, so there is our card base, all nice and folded. So now we can start adding our pieces. And we're going to start with all these pieces here so we can decorate, and you can actually lay this straight out if you like. Now these pieces are the pieces that go on the sides. So let's grab some glue. Hopefully I have enough in here. Otherwise I'm going to have to grab a new one. And this is going to go right here on this side piece. And you want to just make sure that it's on there and it's pretty well centered in this area. All right, now let's jump over to this one, and we're going to, oops, now it comes out like crazy, right? Probably the last hurrah. Let's open another one. I go through so much glue. But it's so much easier to work with. That's why I use it so much. Okay, so now we're going to lay this one down on this side. And I want to pretty much get it centered. Just like that. All right. Now we need to fill in this space. And that's what we have this little piece for. So let's layer this up. We're going to layer it. Make sure it's on there centered. Add a bit of glue to the back. And now we're going to lay it in here. I'll try to get it so it is pretty even with this bottom piece and centered between my cut marks. Now, where this valley is, we need to decorate this rectangle here. And that's what these pieces are for. So let's layer these. And then we can add this to this space. And again, I'm going to try to keep it even on either side. Okay. And then again, above the valley, we need to decorate this space. So it's above the valleys that we are going to decorate. And right now, it's just like putting a puzzle together. Hi, Pamela. How are you, honey? Your package is in the mail. So if you didn't already get it, it should be there soon. Okay. So now, when we get this folded all up, all those pieces are decorated. So for these gorgeous grape pieces, I'm going to pull in my basic white. Let me just grab a scrap piece of paper. It's the one thing I forgot to grab. Oh, I hear thunder. There is a storm in the area, I know. All right, so we have our scrap piece of paper and our 2 pieces of basic white that's going to fit right here. I'm going to grab some Highland Heather and Granny Apple Green. And I decided to use, and let me see if I pulled it out of the stamp set, and I did not. I have this stem, other stems, not the one I want. So we're going to use this simple stem that's in the stamp set. And like I always say, I like to lay it down on the table and then pick it up with my block, and don't mind my blocks. They need cleaning again. This way it doesn't distort the shape and makes it easier when I want to die cut. Oh, nice. So you're on vacation. Awesome. Or away. So we're going to take our Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to turn this a little bit, and we're going to ink up. But before I do that, my ink pads have so much ink in them that I do not really care for the way my stamps. And I'm just grabbing a cloth. So what I do is I grab a little plastic spoon and I just pull my ink down. There's something right there. I like to just pull the ink down and then wipe off my spoon and then ink up. And it inks up really nice. And I am going to stamp this stem, and then I am going to stamp it again, just so it's light on top. And I'm going to do the same thing to this side. I'm just going to stamp and then stamp. So there are my leaves for the two side panels. Now for the flowers, I'm going to grab this sweet little flower, and let's grab a small block, and we're going to grab some Highland Heather. And I already pulled the ink down on this one, and we're just going to add one of these. You know what? I'm going to just pull that ink down again. There's just too much ink there. So we're just going to ink up this flower. That's better. And we're going to stamp it right there at the top. And the same on this side. So now we have our little purple flower on the top. And then we have to stamp the flower that I used here. And it is this side flower. And I did stamp and die cut, but you're just going to stamp the flower, and then we're going to close this up, and then we're going to grab some bumblebee, and there is actually a little inside to this flower. If I can find my little block. And I'm using bumblebee ink. And again, you're just going to ink up, line this up on the flower, just like that. Run it through the die cutting machine. And here are the little flowers. Perfect little flowers. Now for the flowers we already stamped. Oops, I took the wrong, oh no, that's right. There is another little round or an oval piece. Actually, we don't want that one. There is a round piece. These little stamps drive me crazy. There's a little tiny circle. So what we're going to do is we're just going to ink that up and add a bumblebee color right to the center of the flower. So now our side panels are pretty much done. So let's pull in our card, and I'm actually going to grab some seal. I'm afraid that the glue is going to show through, so let's put these down with some seal. Whoops, sticking to my fingers. So we're just going to, whoops, add some seal. Get that out of the way. And then we're going to center this on our gorgeous grape. Gotta scoot that over. There we go. Whoops. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Okay, so there are our two side panels. Thanks, Beverly. Hi, Dawn. Yeah, there's too much brightness, I guess. And I have 3 lights on, too, so that could be an issue. See, it's too dark. So I have a couple lights on. I'll bring it down. All right, so now let's grab these little flowers, and we're going to pop these up onto these sections. Let me grab some dimensionals. Now you want to try and get these popped up so they don't go over the edge of the card. Only because this is a 5.5 by 5.5 by 4.25 card, just like this, so it will fit in a basic envelope. So I would try to at least get this flower on here without it going over the edge. So we'll put that one like that. And then on the other side, I think I will tilt it the other way. It doesn't matter if it goes over this edge, but you don't want it over this edge. Okay. Let's pull in those butterflies. These are the nice glimmery butterflies with the in color, and I think this is the Orchid Oasis. And I'm just going to fold the wings up, then grab my bone folder, and I just want to curl them just a little bit, just to give the butterfly some shape. And then I'm going to add glue right to the center of his body. And we're going to stick him right here. And do the same thing with the second one. And this is, like I said, one of the dies from the Butterfly Brilliance. So let's stick this one right about here. All right, so now we have our side panels completed. So let's jump to the inside of the card. To make it simpler, I would suggest you laying the card out to add the different elements, because there are a few. For the back, we're going to add 2 flower stems and 2 flowers. You want to be mindful, though, that when the card closes, and I'm going to just pop them out for a second. When the card closes, if these pieces are in here and we attach the flower, you just want to make sure it doesn't go above this part of the card. So I would suggest taking the stem and sticking it all the way down, maybe coming up just a little bit with the flower, because you don't want it protruding past the top of the card. And we are actually going to adhere these flowers to the stems, and it works exactly the same way. Here the flower is, and then instead of using this piece, we would use this oval piece right here. And that's what I did with the Highland Heather and the bumblebee. So we're just going to grab some glue, and I'm going to add a bit of glue to the top of the stem. And let's add the flower right about there. And we're going to let that dry. Then we need a second one. So we're going to grab another flower and another stem. This time, let's put the flower sideways. So we're just going to add some glue. And it's the same flower, the Highland Heather and the bumblebee. And we're just going to let that dry. So now we have to add it to the back of our card. We'll go to the original one. I'm not popping this up. We're just going to adhere this right to this back layer. And then we can grab the other one. Now, if you want them, this one I did turn sideways, but if you wanted it at a different level, I would just cut down the stem. This one is just perfect. And you can see that it's staying down below the fold. There's a full group of people. You don't see their names on Facebook? That's really weird. There's so many glitches. It just is crazy. Because I don't see your name either. It just says Facebook user. So what might be happening is the people who are signed in to StreamYard, maybe you don't see because they're watching through StreamYard. Okay, so there is our first section. Now let's jump to this section. I actually used this piece, which is just leaves, and then I do have two stems. I'm just going to hold these out for a second because I'm going to show you what we need to do. And then I again have two flowers, and I'm using this, I don't need bluebells, maybe they're bluebell flowers for this piece here. Okay. Oops, sticking to me. Now for this next layer, it's important that you close your card up and check to see about cutting these pieces, because you'll notice it's only about a half an inch down. But if I put this flower here, when it's closed up, you're not really going to see the flowers in the back. So what I did is took about a half an inch off the stem and then tucked it in and checked. Now, if I put this flower, I can't even lift it up, on this stem, at least you can see the flower behind. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Then I'm going to just take this stem, lay it on top just so I can see where I need to cut it and cut it down. Okay, so this one now we don't really have to worry too much about because we're going to put this in the center. And we'll leave that long so it extends up. So let's add some glue to the back of this. And we're going to center this on this piece, just like that. And grab what I'm going to call bluebells, even though they're purple. And I'm just going to stick a little dimensional behind here. And we're going to layer this right in the center of that leaf. Okay. Now we can add our flowers to these layers. Add some glue. This time we'll use this piece here. We'll let that dry. And then add some glue. And we'll turn this one this way this time. And just fold that over. Now while they're drying, let's pull in the piece of acetate. Now you can cut it on your cutter. I'm just going to cut it with a pair of scissors. And I'm cutting it about 1/4 of an inch wide. And maybe about 1.5 inches long. Yep, 1.5 inches long. And I'm just going to take one end and fold it over just a hair. I just want a little bit of a fold in there. So when the card opens, this will stand out a little bit. So I want this to actually stand out beyond this flower. So I'm just going to add a bit of glue where I folded it, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to stick it right down in the center of this piece, right where the score line is, and just glue that down. Now that's going to take a few minutes to dry because of the acetate. And you just want to make sure it's adhered really well. And to hide, and I hope it's in here, to hide that piece of acetate, let me see if I cut one out. And I did. I actually cut some of the grass out from the gnome dies because it was a perfect little piece. And I'm just going to add a bit of glue, just like that. Pull in my card, and it's hard to see that piece of acetate. It's there. So I'm going to take my blade of grass and I'm going to adhere it right to that piece of acetate. So it hides the acetate. Okay. Let's grab these little butterflies. And I guess this is the bigger of the little butterflies. Just pull this out of the way. I'm going to grab some pearls, and we're just going to add some pearls to the the body of this butterfly. He's so plain that I thought he needed just a little something to dress him up a little bit. So we're going to give him 3. And then this little one, we're going to add 2. Whoops. Okay. So there's our little butterflies. We'll move one out of the way. This one, we're actually going to take him now, and we're going to add him right to the top of this piece of acetate. So a little bit of glue, and then we're going to adhere, and I'm going to actually stick my bone folder underneath in case the glue smears. It won't get onto the back layer, and add that butterfly right there to that card. Now we can add our flowers. So let's add some glue, and we're going to tuck this in and scoot it down. And I'm going to push it behind, and then we're going to grab the other one and tuck it in and scoot it behind. And I'm actually going to pull this out and stick it behind, just like that. And then we'll just give everything a few minutes. They are really pretty. Hi, Jean. How are you? Thank you so much. Okay, so now that it is drying, we have our one butterfly right here on the front. Let's pull that acetate out again. And let's see, we'll put it right here. Again, I'm going to cut about 1/4 inch and maybe a little longer than 1.5 inches this time. We're going to add some glue, and we're going to stick it right behind this panel. So if you can see that, now it's sticking out behind that panel. And I'm going to hold it for a second so it dries. So you can see the edges of that. And then when that dries, we're going to grab our little butterfly, and we're going to add some glue. And this one, whoops, dropped it right down. Let's tilt him this way, and we're going to add it right to the end of that acetate. My fingers are sticky. So now we have the floating butterfly up top, and then we have this little floater right here. Now what you'll do is just fold this back just a little bit on that fold line, and you can see that that butterfly is flying right in the front of the card. So let's get this so it's dried a little bit. We're going to pull in our sending, and I actually did this in Gorgeous Grape, and we want to put this right here on the front of the card, and right there. So I'm just going to take some glue, and we're going to dot the bottom of these letters. So the top of this will not be glued down. For the Y, I'm going to leave it for now, because you'll notice on this one, I have the Y over top of that white frame. So let's get this down. I'm going to tuck it underneath that butterfly, and I want to make it so it is just about centered on this layer. And of course, we want it to be straight. And that doesn't look too bad. And just adhere that down. Now I should have, and I do, here's the frame. and we're going to stamp a card to say hello. So let's pull in our Highland Heather. And I should be able to get this on straight because the stamp is see-through. And let's just stamp our sentiment. I want to get it centered. Not too bad. And I'm going to again, let's see where I put them, grab my pearls. We're going to close this up so we don't make a disaster. And I'm going to grab my dark Highland Heather. Thanks, Florence. Oh, no worries at all, Diana. I mentioned it actually a few times. I just want everybody to know there was such a to-do about it, and I felt so bad. And although the giveaway is easier for me doing it the way I've been doing it, it's just not fair to people who are watching the video. So I'm just going to change it up. Okay, so we're just going to grab 2 colored pearls and we're going to add it to each side of the sentiment so it looks like it is being held on by the pearls. And then we're just going to grab a couple dimensionals and pop this up right on the front of the card. Now we want to get this centered. And it looks like I'm going to go over again. Can you believe it? I must run my gums too much or something. Okay, so we're going to center this on the front. So I'm going to use this piece as my guide. And it is going to overlap a little on each side. Oops. So let's just get this. I want to get it put down on this side. But I want to lift this up, pull out my G, and put it behind that G. Okay, so there we go. That is, so you can see, looking down, it really has some really nice dimension. And then when it's closed up, you can see a beautiful garden. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Thank you so much. No worries. I'm running late too. Again, can you believe it? So there we go. That's card number 1. Hopefully card number 2 won't take so long. And again, I'll have a PDF for it in the group, hopefully by noon. All right. So the second card, I think I mentioned before, I don't like the color of the bow. I'm actually using pale papaya, and I colored it with my light Highland Heather blend, and my blend is actually running low. So I think that's what happened. So tonight, oh, listen to that thunder. I am going to color it with the dark Highland Heather. I'm just pulling out all my stuff. I have everything in a basket, so hopefully nothing's lost. And we're going to color that ribbon differently. And you know what? Let's do that right now so it dries. So we're going to use pale papaya, and I need 1 to wrap around the card. And as everybody knows, I don't like to wrap my ribbon and tie a bow with that wrapped ribbon. I like to wrap the card, attach it, and then tie a ribbon and attach it. So oh yeah, much nicer. Look at the difference. So we're using the dark Highland Heather to color the pale papaya. That looks really nice. I guess I must use the light Highland Heather a lot. So we're just going to color this up and give it a chance to dry. So by the time we get to adding it, it'll be dry. Okay, there we go. So let's put those aside. And let's start with this card. It's 11 by 4¼ and it's scored at 5½. And then of course I need some layers. So we're going to layer it with Highland Heather 5�3" by 4⅛, basic white 5¼ by 4, and we're going to adhere these together. And then another basic white that I ran through the embossing machine with the Quatrefoil embossing folder. And this is actually 3 7/8 by 4¼ I cut a piece off the bottom to make it shorter so we could put the flowers across the bottom. Okay, so that's what I did. So let's get these layers down. I'm gonna glue them. Hopefully it'll go quicker. I'm really sorry I run late every week. I don't know what happens. I did figure tonight I would definitely get done within an hour. Gosh, I guess I was wrong. And I'm going to actually glue this one down also, only because there's going to be another layer on top. If this was the top layer, I would not add the glue to it. I would use seal. Got a little bit of glue there, so let's get this glue off. Won't see it, but we'll get it off. All right, so there is the front layers. Now we're going to work on this layer here. Let's grab the shorter of the ribbons that I colored. And oh man, I really do like that so much better. Can you see the difference? Hey, Kathy. Oh my goodness, you lost your electric for 7 hours. I would be lost. Holy smokes. I know the storms have been crazy lately. And for us, they usually go over us, like south of us or north of us. And tonight, I guess we're getting a little bit of something out there. That's all right. And Kathy Kirshner, I'm glad to hear that somebody else does it the same way. All right. The only reason I decided to add the ribbon is I did not like the way I saw the edge of this on the front of the card. So I'm actually just going to line this up right with the edge, and my finger keeps catching that glue dot, right at the edge of this piece. And we're just going to tuck it in and around with a glue dot. And then I'm just going to run it down, making sure it's straight. And then again, we're going to just tuck this around just like that. And it just hides that piece. Then we have our flowers. I'm going to use 2 Highland Heather on the bottom, and I'm going to use 1. This is actually Daffodil Delight. It looks dark, but that's what it is, Daffodil Delight. Let's use this one instead. And what we're going to do on this piece here, oh, medicine time. Let me just open the door and tell him because he forgot it this morning. So hold on 1 second. Medicine. Medicine. Okay, sorry about that. I just want to make sure he took it because he forgot it this morning. Okay, So what we're going to do is this little petal here, we're going to add some glue, take our layer, and I am going to tuck it under this card layer, just like this. And I want to make sure it's centered. And then I'm going to take a piece of towel, just get that glue off. And you want to just make sure that you can pull this down. Even you can even put a glue dot under there just to hold it in place if you wanted. So you can see that I tucked that flower right behind this layer, just like that. And we're going to do it with the purple ones too. So this time I'm going to add a little less glue. Take my layer, and we're going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to keep my yellow flower. I want that one to be over top of this one. So we just want to hook this under and over. Oops. Just like that. So we want to tuck that in. You might have to hold it for a minute. Now where this is embossed, it does feel funny when you put the flowers on. So again, I'm just going to pull that ribbon down. And then we're going to do it one last time. So we just want to tuck it under. We want to pull this piece up, pull this piece up. Let's move it over a little bit. And we'll keep this one over the yellow. Take off that glue and then just pull down our ribbon just so it's covering up that end of the card. And then we have our little flower border. Nope, I added them to this layer so that they are popped up on the front of the card. So now that we are all done with those flowers, we can actually grab some dimensionals and we can pop this layer up onto the front of this card. This would also be a nice design if you cut the whole front of the card shorter and use that flower as the border at the bottom of the card. All right, so now we're just going to pop this up on the front of the card, just like that. So we're going to grab our leaves again. I actually did 2 of these leaves and then 1 stem, so I could add the 2 flowers to it. We also have sending again. Oh, you know what? I don't think I die cut a frame. And we want to make sure that this is going to lay and we can get our flowers on here. So let's just, I'm going to move these flowers actually up a little bit this time. So let's put them right about there. And all I'm going to do is glue this down. And I'm not going to glue it down completely. So if it does pick up, it's perfectly fine. I am going to make sure that the flowers are in the center. And I'm just going to take this one and stick it right under there. And then this one, oh, you know what? Look at, I did them on green paper instead of white. That's right. I should have stamped these on white paper so you can't see the outline of the flower. So now I'm going to grab my flowers and we're going to pop them up. So I have my yellow and we're going to pop that one up right here. And I just tucked it under that leaf. And then we're going to pop up the purple one right about here. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pop up that leaf. And that's the reason I did not glue it down completely. Now, when it comes to the words, of course, if we glue this down, it may look a little wonky. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some glue to the center of this and then lay it down. So this way it is adhering just to the leaves, a little bit to the side. Let's put a little bit of glue right there. And we just have to, whoops, my fingers are so full of glue. All right, I'm going to use this. We're going to weigh that down for a second. And I am going to quick, this is why I'm always so late. I'm going to quick run this through and cut another label or sentiment tag because I forgot to cut one. And I was in here and I went through these cards tonight thinking I had everything I needed. I guess I was wrong. All right, so there's our sentiment. And I did love and big hugs. So let's just put that so that dries. Let's grab our love and big hug sentiment. And we're going to open up our Highland Heather. And we're going to ink that up really good. And I should have my mat under this to give a nice stamp. So let's, not too bad. And then we'll pull our pearls in again with our dark Highland Heather. And we're going to color 2 up for the sentiment, and we're going to color 2 up, I think 3 up for the card. And let's pull in our ribbon. So we're going to tie our bow, come in through my fingers, grab this tail, and we want to pull it right through this loop here. And then pull it tight. If you tie that, pull that knot nice and tight in the center, you'll get a nice bow. You might have a hard time pulling it off your fingers, but you'll have a nice bow. Get my ribbon scissors. Just going to pull our tails down and cut them at an angle. Let's grab a glue dot. Ooh, it's warm in here tonight, so my glue dots are a little bit melty. And I'm just going to grab my glue dot. I'm going to center it right here on the front of the card. Stick into my finger too. And make sure my loops are the same size. And adhere that right to the front of the card. Definitely like the color better. We're going to grab our sentiment. We're going to pop this baby up. Looking for my dimensionals, and they're right there in front of my face. All right, so let's pull these off. Pull our card back in, and then we want to center this on the front of the card, and I'm again going to tuck it under, and that looks like it's probably about even. Let's see if it's straight. Just gotta pull this down a little bit. Okay, so now let's add our pearls. I lost my pokey tool. It's here somewhere. So we're going to add one here and here at the end of our sentiment. Here's the eye. I'm going to add one right here to the top of that eye. And then I'm going to put one on this corner and this corner. And then we have the front of our card done. So let's grab our 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, 5 1/4 by 4. The inside is very simple. We are going to grab our stem, our granny apple green, and of course a scrap piece of paper. And we're going to ink up and then stamp off and then stamp on, because we want this to be fairly light on the inside of the card. And then we're going to open up our Highland Heather. And we're going to grab, let's see, where's that flower? The flower that we used on the front. Ink up, and I know I'm off the camera, but we're going to ink up, stamp off, and let's stamp that flower right about there. Let's grab that bumblebee. And the oval. So we got our bumblebee. We're going to ink up, stamp off, stamp the center of our flower. All these crazy papers. All right, so let's pull in our card base. We'll add some seal. And then let's just add some more seal. Those little papers are all over. And there we go. And there is card number 2. I like this, like I said, I like this ribbon better. So there's one. And here's card number 2. So I hope, yeah, I probably did. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. I'll have a PDF in the room by noon tomorrow. Place an order using the host code on the screen of $25 or more, and I will send you these make and takes. Oh, you know what? You know what I did before I forget? And I'll add it. I didn't add it to my first card, and I didn't even cut it all the pieces out. But I did cut out an additional butterfly that I wanted to add to the front of this card. So I will do that, and this will be the card I take a picture of because I like the ribbon better. Okay, so I'll add that tomorrow. So $25 or more, and I'll send you these make and take. Thanks, Beverly. Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Florence. Hey, man. And I will do the giveaway for this designer series paper, and I'll have the winner posted in the group tomorrow instead of using StreamYard. So this way I can see everybody who was in the room, whether you signed into StreamYard or not, and that's the way I'll do it. And if you would like to become a demonstrator just for the crafty discount, I would love to have you on my team. The end of August will be here before we know it. And if you want to take advantage of that planner, I'd love to have you on my team. So ladies, have a great night. I'll see you on Saturday for Simple Saturday. Stay cool, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.